All right, we're back, Tyler. We are back. And to everybody listening, we are back with the Ask Me Anything Summer Series Part 2, which Tyler just named for me. This is why I love having you here, because you just decide. You know, I can't decide, you just decide.
We just do it.
So we're back. We're back with Part 2. And if you have not listened to Part 1 of the Ask Me Anything Part 1 series, Summer Series, then go listen to that. But this one today, so we are taking a turn away from family, which we did last time. And we're going to be diving into nutrition and fitness because, Tyler, you said there are so many nutrition and fitness questions, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they're all over the place. So let's start here. Let's start out generally. There's a lot of questions around women in their 30s and 40s post-baby, post-having kids, that are struggling losing weight.
Yep.
So take that however you want, but specifically to women who have had children, but additionally women in general struggling to lose weight, what advice would you share with them?
Oh, man. Okay, so this could go so many different directions. I'm going to say this first before we get to the brass tacks of it. But if you are 35 to 40, post-baby, postpartum, whatever it is, struggling to lose weight, I first want you to stop and think about why you think you need to lose weight in the first place. And I go there, Tyler, because I think a lot of women do not even understand their why. Like they think if I lose the weight, then I'm going to be enough. And when someone, and most of the women who come to me are that way, they think, oh my gosh, okay, Heidi said she can help me lose my baby weight or whatever. So they come to me and they think, once I crash diet and I lose this weight, then my husband's going to love me or the people around me are going to love me, right? Never addressing the reality. And the reality is that you just want to be enough. So anyone listening right now who wants to lose weight, I think first you have to identify why you truly want to lose weight. You can peel back all of the layers to that question. It's not because you want a good bikini body. It's not because you want to, be fit with your kids. It's not because your boyfriend likes you skinnier. At the end of the day, it's going to boil down to that you want to be enough and you want to be accepted and you want to be loved. And we have been raised in a society and a culture that has told us for decades, hundreds of years probably, but decades, that we are only enough if we look a certain way. So most people's why is not even because I want to feel better. Most of their whys are because I want to be enough. Now, when I work with clients, and I mean, maybe this is the first that I've said this on the podcast, but my philosophy in all of the things that I did that were very successful, my challenges, my groups, my education courses, my marketing philosophy, and I would tell them this when they were in my group, I'm going to bring you in with what you think you need. So I'm going to tell you, I'll give you diets. I'll give you exercise. I'll give you this. We're going to look good. We're going to all these things. And then once you're here, once you're in my circle, once you're in my community, I'm going to serve you what you really need, which actually has absolutely nothing to do with how you move your body and how you eat. It doesn't. Those are the easy things. Those things are going to be about 10% of the total equation. The water, the food, the moving your body. The 90% of the equation, they're what we call transformation tools. It's learning about integrity. It's learning to love who you are. It's learning about falling without failing. It's learning life lessons, for lack of better words, that actually we could apply toward any area of your life. So we could apply it toward relationship. We could apply it toward career. We could apply, like if you have integrity with your word, if you have integrity with your word in career, you're going to go a lot further. If you have integrity in your relationship, you're going to go a lot further. If you have integrity with your kids, that's a father-son relationship that's going to work, right? But if you don't have integrity in any of those areas, it's going to fall apart. So what I teach, and Chris and I both did this, but what we teach is the true tools to transformation of any kind. Doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds you want to lose or 500 pounds you want to lose. It truly is the same as being successful in any area of your life. We're simply going to guide them. Like we're going to guide you. We're going to teach you. We're going to feed you a fish and we're going to teach you how to fish. And then we're going to guide you toward the weight loss realm, right? So all of that to say, if you're writing and asking this question thinking I'm going to give you a magic diet, or a magic workout or a magic pill. It's just not going to happen. When you work with me, or if you've been a part of my groups, the women know that we do a lot of the inner work, right? That has them learning to love their body at any size. Because only when you love your body at the size that you're at, can you actually lose the weight and keep it off? That becomes transformation, not just weight loss, okay? So that's the whole touchy-feely. That's the most important part about anyone wanting to lose weight that can't lose weight. Chances are you can't lose weight because you have no integrity. And it's just the way that it is. I can say that because I have no integrity sometimes, right? What is integrity? Integrity is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Not just to everybody else, but most importantly to yourself. And we all have integrity. Anyone listening to this right now who is trying to lose weight, you have integrity with every other person in your world. Whether it's your kids, you tell them you're going to pick them up, you pick them up. Maybe it's your neighbor, you say you're going to make them dinner and you do. It's your husband, you're going to pick them up from work, your coworker. You have integrity with everybody. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. But then when you tell yourself diet starts Monday, or you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to work out. Or you tell yourself, 2010, that's my year. 2011, that's my year. 2012. We do not have integrity. We are making promises or commitments to ourselves that we know we're going to break because over and over and over we've broken those commitments. And so to anyone wanting to lose weight, number one, you have to be so impeccable with your word. You have to learn the value of your word. Your word must be so strong that it outweighs any reason why you cannot. So if you commit to waking up at 5 a.m. to work out, you better be ready to do it. If you cannot do that every single day for the rest of your life, you should reevaluate your commitment. If you say, I'm going to follow this diet, you better make sure that that diet is a thing that you can follow. Because if you can only do it for 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, maybe to your goal, but you can't sustain it for the rest of your life, you are setting yourself up for failure. So we have become a society of overblown promises. Overblown. That was I mumbled that word. We've become a society of overblown promises, right? We say we're going to do more, yet it's almost like the more we do, the more we say we're going to do, the less we actually do. And every single time we fail, we commit to something, we fail, we commit, we fail, we commit, we fail. We have our integrity or lack thereof is directly tied to our dignity. And our dignity is our ability to love ourselves. If you do not have integrity, you will not love who you are. If you have integrity and you love who you are, you're also going to lose weight because you have created the habits. That is, when I say I'm not going to have a cookie, I can trust myself that I'm not going to have a cookie. But the key is to shrink it down. So for anybody who is struggling right now to lose weight or stick to a plan or a diet or whatever it is, my advice for you is to stop taking on too much at once. Get rid of the idea that you need to do these challenges. Yes, I have challenges, but I do mine very differently. Get rid of the idea that you need to do these challenges and programs and things that list 10 items of to do for you. Like, you do not need to work out for an hour a day. You do not need to eat perfectly. You do not need to cut carbohydrates and sugar from your diet. You do not need to drink a full gallon of water a day. You do not have to do all of the things to find success. In fact, the more you try to do all of the things, and you fail, the less success you're going to have and the more disappointed and hopeless and miserable you will be with yourself. The more your integrity will be squashed. So start small. Anyone looking to lose weight, start small. What is one simple thing you know without a shadow of a doubt you can do every single day? I call this a power promise. Maybe for someone, it's brushing their teeth. It could be as simple as brushing their teeth. It could be making your bed. We've all heard that speech about making your bed, right? And you keep yourself winning for the day. Same concept. Maybe it's drinking an extra quart of water a day. Whatever it is, take a look at where you're at right now in your life. That is your baseline. All I want you to do is add one power promise every single day to your lifestyle. And I promise you, over time, when you become a promise keeper and you begin to build something we call integrity momentum, which is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it over and over, and you build those promises, you will actually lose the weight. Because when you say you're going to lose the weight, you do it. Your word is impeccable, so impeccable, you can't not do it. Did you get all that?
You nailed that. I
I could have gone into hormones and all that. The science of it, I love and I understand. It doesn't matter next to any of this. It does not matter.
Yeah, that was amazing. There's a lot there. And I think a lot of this just has to do with just having a good mindset, and believing that you can, right?
And you just said a word that in transformation, because that's where we came from, helping people lose hundreds of pounds over the course of a year. And that's what I do now. Belief is so hard. Most people, when they have years and years of broken promises, like I could look at someone who was 400 pounds and say to them, I don't see 400 pounds of fat when I look at you. I see 400 pounds of broken promises. And every broken promise chips away at that belief.
Totally.
Right? And so I think that kind of leads to another really important component. And if you don't believe in who you are, or the person doesn't believe in what they can accomplish, they should most definitely partner up with or be around people who do believe in them. That's what I do for people. Like I believe in someone before they can believe in themselves. And I do it until they do believe in themselves. Yeah. Right? It's like training wheels. That's all. That's what I am.
Yeah. And I think you're a great model for belief as well, right? I think you give people a lot of hope that they can do it too.
Thank you.
So there's several questions in here about eating disorders. And one of them comes specifically from a community member who has a severe eating disorder. And she's asking the question, do these ever creep into your life? Do they ever show up? Specifically, maybe during high stress times for Heidi?
It's a very good question. And I hope anyone listening who has an eating disorder right now hears me and hears this as hope. In maybe 13, 14 years, I have not had a disordered eating relapse once. And I love that. And I don't say that, there might be psychiatrists and psychologists who listen to this who are like, oh, you're never recovered. Because I've heard that over and over. You are never recovered. You always have to be on standby. And I agree with that. And also, I'll say, I don't know if it's by the grace of God. I don't know if it's due to my education and what I've learned and how I've experienced my body shifting. I am so damn grateful that I never have bulimia or anorexia creep back in. Now, let me say body dysmorphia is a real thing. And that might be the most detrimental part of an eating disorder. Like the anorexia, the bulimia actually physically is insanely taxing on your body. And for anyone listening or you, I don't know how much you know, but I was both anorexic turned bulimic. And then that bulimia actually led to a food addiction because I had deprived myself of foods for such a huge period of my life because I believed I needed to look like my mom to be enough, right? And so that deprivation, when my dad came along and said, I'm not going to lose my daughter to anorexia, eat a hamburger. Him force feeding a hamburger on me taught me to throw up. Like I was like, I can't keep this in my body. There's I think part of my anorexia, I'm self-diagnosing, so this might be incorrect, but I believe a part of me also struggled and struggles with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And I think part of the reason why that hamburger in my body was so like my undeveloped brain could only see it literally as creating fat in my body. And then I could see the fat in my body creating people not liking me. It made me, I won't be like my mom. So my dad won't like me. People won't like me, right? Just this weird OCD thing. And anyone listening who struggles, I know you can relate. There's this crazy thing and it's not logical, but the age I was at without the education that I have today, logic didn't matter. Right? Now, I might have similar thoughts that are like, oh man, my body, what's this whatever, me not working out. I've had to work through what's it like when I go a week without working out, because I never would have done that in the past. And I do that now, but I kind of have to work through it. Like, am I going to be okay? Yeah. Logically now, I understand what's happening to my body. Logically, I know when I put food into my mouth, food is my friend. Food is not my enemy, but I didn't know that until I actually experienced it, till I had to go through a journey of my own where I needed to gain 20, 25 pounds to get on stage and compete. That journey of gaining weight and gaining muscle to compete taught me that, oh my gosh, I can eat 2,500 calories a day and I can maintain a leaner physique where I feel better. I actually think I look better by eating more than I ever thought I could eat, right? So I'll say that there's disordered eating patterns do not creep in. Body dysmorphia and guilt when I don't work out, I still have to work through that. And I think I probably will for the rest of my life, right? And also to anyone who might be struggling with an eating disorder, number one, I was in therapy for a very long time for this. And I think that's the most important thing, more important than anything I say. Like if you're a therapist, if you're in therapy and she counters or says something different, listen to your therapist, because I'm not a therapist. This is all my personal experience. But I would say number two, educate yourself on what food does. I lived in fear of food for so many years because I just did not understand the beauty that it was for my body. And by way of my own nutrition education, I was able to learn by experience how food actually works. But there was patience. I had to be patient with my body transforming. I felt fluffy or, what I would consider fluffy for months, maybe even a year before that muscle started taking form and I could lean out, right? So there's a patience process. There's getting used to having food in my stomach, which was crazy because everyone was used to that. I just wasn't used to it, right? And then I would also say too, like it kind of goes back to why did I, and anyone hearing this, I want you to have the same conversation with yourself. Why did I feel like I needed to be skinny or I needed to look a certain way to be enough? I didn't love who I was, right? And so even poking holes at, okay, do I really need to be the size that I think I need to be, right? And why do I think I need to be that way? Is that my brain telling me I'm not enough when really I am? And do I need to change my surroundings and put myself in situations where people love me for all of who I am, right? I don't feel like I have to look a certain way or act a certain way or be a certain way to be enough.
Love it. Several questions from women on here asking about building muscle. And I'll put a part two in here, which there's two separate people asked about building muscle and getting enough protein, which I think is, you would say, is part of the equation, without meat and protein shakes.
Okay. So we'll say, you might have to remind me of the no meat, no protein shakes at the end. Protein is the building block of the muscle, right? It's the building block of the body. Like every single bit of our body is actually made up of protein. And in order to gain muscle, we do need enough protein. Now, I'm going to debunk a myth. A lot of people thinking I can gain muscle or I will gain adequate muscle by eating protein and no carbohydrates. I'm going to debunk that right now. We actually need carbohydrates in addition to protein. So when I do a high protein diet, I will not gain the muscle mass that I want to gain if I'm not also doing a high carbohydrate diet. You probably know this. Many people do not know this, and they think they need to cut their carbs, which will flatten your muscles out, make them look smaller actually. When the reality is, if you like, carbohydrates are like the hammer, protein is like the nail. Yes, that's right. Protein is the nail. I had to think about that for a second. What we're doing when we actually ingest carbohydrates, we're opening up the gates or hammering in the protein into the body. Yeah. So carbohydrates open the pathway for the protein to make it to the muscle, right? So we absolutely need carbs and protein. Now, let's talk about how much. Adequate rule of thumb for me. I think according to dietitians, they'll say you need at least 0.4% of your body weight. I say 0.8% of your body weight. So if you're I'm just going to use every 100 pounds you need 80 grams of protein. So for me, and that's baseline. baseline. That's like just to maintain your muscle mass. And that might be hard to maintain. I like at least 1 gram per body weight, maybe even a little more if I'm trying to build. So for me, I am about 115 pounds. I'm going to eat 125 grams of protein every single day because I like to go above that. I would say don't dip below 0.8. And then if you're wanting to build muscle, add more protein to your diet. So whatever pounds you are, go a little bit above that, 1.1, 1.2, and then you're good there. Now, what kind of protein sources? And let me also say this. I like to spread my protein throughout the day or throughout your feeding window. So if anyone listening is doing intermittent fasting, right, I wouldn't throw all of your protein into one meal and none in another. I like protein at every single meal. Whatever your window is, however many feeding times you have, evenly split your protein so your body can adequately digest that protein at that sitting. I like to do about 20, 25 grams of protein per sitting, no more for me. And everyone's a little bit different. I've actually heard science saying that you can only ingest, as a female, 20 to 25 grams per sitting. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I go by anyway. Now, different sources of protein besides meat and protein shakes. You can have cottage cheese, salmon. I don't know if salmon you're going to consider it meat because a lot of people who don't eat meat also eat salmon. But cottage cheese, we have hard-boiled eggs or any kind of eggs, really. There's tofu if you are a vegetarian. I like did I already say string cheese? String cheese is a really good one. Low-fat string cheese is a great one. Here's what I'll say. Most proteins have eyes because some people think a banana is protein. And I don't think it's bad if you're listening and you think it's a protein. One of the best ways to identify a protein is, does it have eyes? Now, obviously that's a meat, right? So the other sources of protein usually are a byproduct of the thing that has eyes. So cheese, cottage cheese, eggs, right? Those are also going to be really wonderful protein sources. Nuts have protein. However, nuts are higher in fat content than they are protein content. So I consider nuts a fat when I'm just breaking it down simply. Beans and legumes have a lot of, lentils have a lot of protein in it. However, they have more carbohydrates than protein. So I consider those a carb. I hope that helps.
That's very helpful. I want to ask this one. This one is a little bit more probably, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not edge case, but one question came through about on the topic of weight loss for women in menopause. Mm-hmm. Would you give any different advice than what you just gave?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll say like anyone who is in menopause is perfectly capable of losing weight. I think there is a misconception or this idea that when I go through menopause, it's all over. And trust me, I've had doctors as I was trying to figure out some of my health concerns over the last year. I would see doctors with certain issues I was having that I thought were hormonal, and they were like, it's just the way that it is. You're getting old. And I was livid leaving an office because I think about the woman who's listening to this podcast. I think about the woman who's in my challenges, seeing a doctor like that says, oh, you can't lose weight because you're going through menopause. Sorry, this is just the way that it is, right? And that's what I heard. And it's really frustrating. So I want everyone listening to know that that's not the way that it needs to be. So yes, your body is shifting. Your hormones are shifting, which is something that is actually beautiful because it's us going through the stages that we are meant to go through as a woman. Here's what I would say. If you are premenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal, go get your hormones checked. Number one, first and foremost, go get your hormones checked because you don't actually know what your hormones are like if you don't get them checked. Now, a lot of people do not even understand that menopause is really a shift in our hormone levels. So our estrogen drops, a lot of times testosterone, all of it. It all kind of just drops and crashes down. And we have different sexual functions that are affected. We have our weight loss, our metabolism is affected, our fatigue, we have hot flashes. There are different things that are affected by women going through menopause. So if you don't know where your hormones are, there's no way to figure out where you want to go. Once you know, I do recommend as many people who can actually get the hormones checked. also get them balanced, because a good doctor, a great endocrinologist, even I have a natural endocrinologist. I don't take any hormones. I do, however, have her give me all natural things. Like I take boron for testosterone. I take DHEA for testosterone. I don't actually take test. I take pregnenolone, which helps my progesterone levels. And I don't do estrogen because right now I don't need to. So I do things naturally that, yes, take a lot longer. But once your hormones are balanced, or a male too, your body is optimized and weight loss will be easier. Like you will feel like you can move better. You'll have more energy. You're going to put more into your workouts, and just naturally your metabolic system is going to function much more effectively. Now that's step number one. Number two, I'm going to say is, how's your gut health? Very important for anyone going through menopause or in menopause to check your gut health. Things that affected us or did not affect us when we were younger, right? We could eat all the gluten. It is male or female. You could eat all of the gluten, all of the sugar, all of the processed foods. Didn't really affect how we felt, right? It might have affected how we looked, whatever. It didn't affect how we. Now, especially as you're going through menopause, everything is affected by imbalanced gut health. So making sure you're taking a probiotic, making sure you don't have any food sensitivities or allergies. Right now, it is more important than ever to make sure your digestive system, whether it's your gut lining or your intestinal walls, can actually absorb all the nutrients that you're taking in. So the micronutrients and macronutrients, gut health is imperative. Our gut is our second brain. If our gut is not healthy, our metabolic system is going to be affected. So number one, hormones. Number two, I would say gut health. And those are going to be the most important. And then I'm going to say this. Many women in general, menopausal women, but also in general, we will restrict the amount of calories that we eat, right? So you go through menopause, your hormones slow down, your metabolism slows down. So in your mind, you're like, oh, I need to eat less. So you put yourself on a very restrictive diet. And many women in menopause that I've met are eating less than 1,000 calories a day. And what happens when we restrict our foods that we're eating is we actually crash our metabolism further. So we are making a slower metabolism due to hormonal imbalances. We're making it worse by not eating enough food. So, I mean, I will always recommend seeing a coach for this. This is what my coaches actually do in my coaching program. We help menopausal women reverse diet. So learn how to slowly incorporate more food into your diet, train your body to increase your metabolism. So those are the three things I'm going to say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, to wrap part two
Okay.
of our Ask Me Anything summer series. Several people. Any fitness challenges coming up that they can be a part of?
Yeah, I don't have a date right now, but we actually just finished one. So we just finished, it was like a week and a half ago. We still have to announce the winners. And Tyler, the women that I have in those challenges are the best. I do not understand how. I've been doing these since 2020. And they have only progressively gotten better. We've gotten more efficient with them. It's so simple for them to learn. The challenges that I'm doing right now are actually connected to my app. So I have an app. I don't know if you know this. showupfit.app is where people can go to find it, or just the Show Up Fitness app. If you're a member of the app, you get in for free. So these challenges are free, and we do tons of giveaways. I have 2 lives that I do a week. I have a handful of other coaches who are in guiding the people, and the community it's insane. It's incredible. You guys, it is where you belong. You've never met a community more wholly accepting and loving. You've never followed a plan that will make you feel like you can do it, a plan that will make you believe in who you are. So yeah, follow me. You obviously are here. So follow my Insta, and I'll tell you when the next one is. Chances are it's going to be in the fall. We'll do another one in the fall. Our goal is to do 3 a year, because it makes fitness fun, and it creates women who love who they are.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Tyler, thank you so much. Is this the end of our
So sad.
Ask Me Anything summer series, part 2? Thank you. I
You're
appreciate you asking the questions. You were the best interviewer. And you are. And Heston, you're pretty dang awesome back there too. And you guys know that you're the best. You really do. The questions that you asked are incredible. Maybe we'll do more of these. You'll have to let me know how you like them. Also, go DM me. Let me know what questions you have, or show up for the next Ask Me Anything and load the questions in, and maybe we'll be back and we'll do more of these. Love you guys.